What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today we're going to do an interview with Ryan Kruger for his new feature called Fried Berry. So check it out. All right, guys, so welcome back. This is Ryan Kruger, who is now putting out a feature film called Fried Berry, and we're going to be talking with you. Thank you so much for coming today.
Cool, man. Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, it's I checked out the short film a while ago, and I think it was either you or one of your people that sent it to me. I think it was like a year ago, because
Okay.
it's about 2 years old now, right?
Yeah, it was 2017.
Yeah,
We released the short.
nice, man. So you've been doing a lot of stuff in the acting, direction. You've been doing working with people who are in music, even though you didn't produce any music, I don't think, right?
No.
Okay.
Just directing music videos.
Some metal bands I hear too, actually.
Yeah. So the metal bands I did. So that was like very early on in my career. I started doing because I grew up in England, but I live past 11 years. I've lived in South Africa. So before I lived here, I was back and forth probably for 5 years before I moved here, and I was moving here shooting some metal bands, over in South Africa, and then long before that, I did this thing called GTV, where we worked with a lot of big bands from back in the day, like metal bands and just like rock bands from the States and some from the UK, where it was just like it was kind of like that Jackass vibe, but it was like bands like backstage or tour bus or hotels. And we
Okay.
filmed with like Slipknot and Black Flag and
Oh, wow.
a lot of different. It was like a 3 year project of basically just getting wasted with all these people.
I mean, that's pretty much what you do, right?
Yeah. But it was cool. It was a lot. It was a long 3 years, but it was it was a cool project and tour buses and then venues and shit like that. But it was cool, and we got to meet like a shitload of bands that I admire and stuff like that. And then there were some bands that I filmed with which you thought might be really cool and funny, and they were just really fucking boring. So,
You're like, these guys are the one I want to meet. That's funny. So are you a metalhead yourself? Would you consider yourself a metalhead?
um, not really. No, I mean, when I was younger, yeah, but I've always been like, I love all music. I literally love all music, and then here and there, sometimes you just want to hear something heavy, and you just play it.
Right, yeah.
So I mean, I think I go back. I literally do love like all types of music. So I mean sometimes like the other day I just go back to some like hardcore bands from
The
from about like
90s or
8 10
something.
years ago and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'll listen to some of those bands and stuff. But yeah, I mean there's always time for like Pantera or anything. So it's all right.
Now, you've done some acting too, and you've been in a lot of different things, some in the background, some a little bit more up the front. Can you tell us a little bit about why it says here in your bio that you actually started with acting for the most part?
Yeah, I started acting. It was funny because it's like I always wanted to do acting, and then I got like my first little video camera where I started shooting all these shitty little films with all my friends, and then I started to get like a little bit of a better crew, and the films were getting a little bit better. I enjoyed the directing, but I wasn't focused on it like career wise. I was like more career wise pushing my acting, and yeah. And then when I moved to South Africa, because I was doing stuff in the UK, but it was very far apart. And then being an English guy in South Africa, I actually started working a lot more as an actor. So I ended up doing more stuff. But it got to a point when I was younger where my mom and dad said to me, just in case it doesn't work out, you're acting, you should maybe do something else, like be a lawyer or a doctor or whatever.
It's
And
always a lawyer or a doctor, right?
yeah. So it's always a lawyer or a doctor. It's always one of those. And then And then I was just like, and I'm like, yeah, but it will work out. And they're like, yeah, but we know it might work out, but let's just, let's just have a backup. And then I was like, okay, I'll do directing. And they were like, oh fuck, like we meant something not in the film industry. And then I started pursuing that also at a young age. So it was cool. So I've never wasted any time doing anything else. Well, don't get me wrong, I've done like a million shit jobs back in the day that I fucking hated, and some really funny ones as well, and some good ones. But at the same time, it's cool because when I moved here, I mean, for the past 11 years, I've only ever done acting and directing and nothing else. So that's pretty cool. I mean, that's some people only wish to, it becomes more of a hobby to some people because it doesn't always, you're not always working. So I've been very fortunate and very lucky, and I'm very humble about it, and very, even when I'm on set, I'm still like, fuck, I really appreciate being on set. I really
Sure.
appreciate being here, and I do thank my lucky stars every time that I'm working. So that's great that I get to work as an actor and as a director, and if I'm not doing one, I'm doing the other.
Well, I kind of feel like it's kind of important in a way. Do you feel it's important to know that how to act as well as now
Oh no,
directing?
absolutely. I mean, directing has made me a better actor, and it's made me a better a director. So I mean, when I'm acting on sets, I always get on so well with a director, and then when I'm directing, I love working with actors, so I get on with them well because I know I won't ask them to do something that I wouldn't do. So
Right.
it's
Yeah.
it's always a great working relationship, and it's definitely made me a better actor and a better director without a doubt. Just the understanding and to know more about each field. So it definitely is better. It's definitely a beneficial thing without a doubt.
And I noticed you've done some music videos as well, and I always find it like super interesting when people who are directors of like music videos and stuff get into the feature films because they usually have some sort of aesthetic thing going on, and I think it's because you're cut down to what 3 to 5 minutes for a music video, so you got to like
Yeah.
put as much in there as you possibly can. Do you think that's helped you and to give you the aesthetic for your feature film now?
Yeah, I mean, I think all time on set, spent on set, all adds up to experience. You know what I
Sure.
mean? And it's funny because some people see it differently in a sense of, oh, you come from a music video background, so you shouldn't do commercials or something like that. And it's
Hmm.
bullshit because the thing is with me, I'm known in South Africa for doing visual and narrative storytelling within a music video. So you get a commercial and you've got 30 to 60 seconds to tell a story. It's the same with a music video.
Right.
I'm telling a 2 minute, 3 minute, 4 minute story, and I'm less about filming like band performance. And if there is band performance, it's cut in between a story, or it's just a story, or it's just visuals.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah, it's one of those things where I think it's definitely, I started doing music videos because I was doing shorts, and then what I realized with shorts is that you can send your shorts to film festivals. It may get on TV at 4 in the morning when nobody's fucking watching the film, and you're either going to come across it on YouTube or not. And why I started doing music videos is one, there's a budget, so you get paid. Two, that they've already got an audience. They already have their fans. So you're already making it for an audience. And if the band's doing well, then the video's doing well. So it's definitely a beneficial thing. Shooting a music video that's already got an audience, and it can go on TV on music channels and be on at like decent hours or all hours around the clock. So it's definitely a better thing, and that's where I made my name as a music video director here. And then I slowly started to try and get out of that, because at one point you've just got to stop doing it so you're free to do features and stuff like that. And I've turned down a hell of a lot of music videos, but it's just like, I enjoy doing music videos. I love it, but this has been a journey, to head to features, and
Right.
I've directed commercials and stuff like that. But it's one of those things where, you want to do what you want to do. Some people might be happy just doing music videos forever or just doing commercials forever, but it's always been a bigger dream to do, to do features.
Speaking of which, you did the short Fried Berry before the feature Fried Berry, and this blew
Yeah.
up. This like was huge. This is like the aspiring feature filmmaker's dream to happen. You had Fried Berry come out about a heroin addict in the middle of his world. And can you tell us a little bit about how that started, how you met Gary Green
Yeah.
and
So I've known Gary for about 11 years now, and 10, 11 years. And he's been in a lot of my music videos and stuff, as an extra. And then the reason why I wanted to do these experimentals, because, I was tired of, making these music videos that it's cool. Like as a director, I had a lot of control doing my concepts, and a lot of music video directors don't. The band want a certain thing. So I got my name out where they trusted me to do whatever I wanted to do. But at the same time, I'm still in a box because I'm like, I have music that I've got to fit the visuals with. I
right?
have their audience, what I've got to please. It's got to be on TV. So it can't be too crazy. It can't be too dark. It can't be too this. So I'm still in the box. So that's why originally I wanted to, it's been a 4-year project that I'm still doing now, is to make 8 experimental films and then release them as a collective. But the only one that I did release was Fried Barry, and that happened to be the first, the first experimental. And when I had the idea, I thought of Gary, and I said, like, I've got this idea, I want you to do this. And he was cool, and he was amped to do it. And yeah, and it was just a 3-minute experimental. I did everything that I wanted to do. It was 100% my style. I didn't have to worry about it getting on TV. I didn't have to worry about pleasing a client or anything. And that's what was really cool. And that was what was really awesome about it. And it just happened to be the first thing that's 100% me. And we had like 60 official selections around the world. We had 13 awards.
Uh,
We had all this fan art from around the world. So it literally just like blew up. And there was never ever a moment where I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to make this into a feature film or anything like that. It was just a standalone short film. And even when it did well, I still looked at it as, oh, it's just an experimental film that did well. There was doing the feature only came later on, where I was thinking of stuff to actually do.
also, I was going to ask, like, how did that come around? Did you get pushed to do it? Were you like, wow, there's just so much energy with this, maybe we should? Like, how did that come about?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was just like there was a lot of, like you said, there was a lot of people talking about it and stuff like that. But where I was in my career at the time was, I've been wanting to make a feature film for ages, and I've come close 5 or 6 times to making a feature, and then it fades away, and it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So I've experienced that quite a lot of times. And where I was 4 years ago, I just went through a really hard time. I had an operation on my kidney. I got sepsis and nearly died. Went through a breakup. My cat got cancer. I went into depression, and I just went down this black hole. And when I
Wow.
reached the bottom, I was like, what is the one thing I've always wanted to do in life? And it was to make a film. And I got the idea. It just came to me randomly. And I knew if everything had to be right to do it, because my lead guy, Gary Green's not a trained actor. So it had to be the right character, the right story to do it. And when I got it, I wrote a scene breakdown in 3 days for 50% of the movie. Not a script, just a scene brief breakdown where Barry does this, Barry does that. And then, and then I rang my producer I was working with at the time, and I said, I want to make a feature film, and I want to make it next month. And he was like, well, have you got a script? And I was like, well, no, because the lead's not a trained actor, and I've got to do it a certain way, and we're going to develop the movie as it goes. We're going to do it in a really experimental way. And he was like, cool, why do you want to shoot it next month? And I was like, well, if we don't shoot it next month, it's never going to happen. It's going to get postponed and just not happen. And a month later, we started to shoot the movie. And then once you've done that day one, you've started it. You got to finish it. You started it. So it came around in a very crazy, quick way, and we developed it as we went. We shot it over a year and a half. Took 28 days to shoot, over a year and a half. I wrote 6 or 7 pieces of dialogue, improved a lot of the stuff with the actors, 90% of the movie on set. The only person that didn't improv was Gary, because he's not a trained actor, so I had to work with him very closely to get, exactly what I wanted from him.
Excellent. Yeah. Why don't you tell everybody what this movie is about that's coming out here that's in the festivals?
Fried Barry is about a heroin addict that gets abducted by aliens, spat back out, and now the alien's in control of his body. Bastard Barry's taken a back seat, basically, and this alien is taking him on this joyride through the dark side of Cape Town. And it's almost like a road movie without the car, but Barry's the car. Yeah, it's a crazy movie. It's one of those movies you either love it or you hate it. It's one of those. But the people who love it will love it. The people that will hate it will fucking hate it. And but we'll speak about it. It's a type of film that even if you watch Barry, it's you can not talk about it. It's either one of those films you either like or you don't like. But the people that don't like it will speak about it. And that's, there's plenty of films that we watch that is not worth the conversation to tell somebody.
Is this going to be pushing the boundaries of taste a little bit in some areas, or is this going to be? I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with Fried Barry, it's got horror, it's got sci-fi, it's got a lot of dark comedy, humor. There's a lot of comedy in the movie, like a hell of a lot, and there's a lot of drugs, there's a lot of sex, there's a lot of stuff in it, and I think it will push some people's buttons, but for the right crowd and the target market so far, and everything that people that have watched it have loved it. There's a lot of people that's just been like, "Oh, this film's is going to be like a cult classic."
Oh, it seems like it to me. When I watched the trailer, I was like, okay, he kept some of that aesthetic from the short. He's like doing some really trippy stuff here. I'm a huge fan of like weird, unique films that are just out there that exist and
This
people are.
This is it.
Yeah, it seems like it, so I'm really excited to check it out. Are you more interested in staying in that lane as far as like the weird film, the sort of experimental, or do you just kind of want to let it kind of go where it goes?
I don't want to close things off and not. I mean, I like all genres of movies, but it's definitely Fried Barry is definitely me. It's definitely my style. It's definitely I do love like weird films and obscure movies and just crazy visuals and stuff like that. So it really does have something there, for the style of what I do. It's definitely me, like my name shouting out, definitely without a doubt, which is cool.
That's awesome. Yeah. See, I don't know. I think we need more of those sometimes than we do get the other stuff. So
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing though. But I mean, it's like the structure to Fried Barry is different, and it is a different, unique sort of a sort of film. And I think we're living in the generation of remakes. Like we got to do. We can't just keep watching fucking Marvel movies the whole time. You know what I mean? It's just like we just got to create different stuff, and that's what I tried to do. I try to make it very unpredictable, very entertaining, push the boundaries a bit there, and it's an easy storyline. It's not about an in-depth storyline. It's an easy storyline that's just you just go on the ride with it. Go on the ride with Barry, and then just enjoy the the overall feel of this movie.
Yeah. Do you have some sort of directors that maybe you pull some inspiration from at all in your process?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm a big '80s kid, so I love '80s films. Like '80s films are the fucking best. Like,
Me too, man.
So I mean, there's no better films than the '80s. And for me, I love David Cronenberg. I love David Lynch. I love Spielberg, and that's the thing with Fried Barry. It's got a ton of film references in Fried Barry. There's references in the movie. There's a bit of '70s as well. But I mean, there's like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. There's Close Encounters. There's Aliens. There's Terminator. There's Explorers. There's
Explorers! Wow.
yeah, there's Starman, there's Bad Boy Bubby, which is early '90s. But there's tons. There's tons of E.T. as well. There's tons of references in the movie from all these different films that that I loved as a kid. And and that's why I wanted to make this cult style film. And it's good to have those nods to those sort of films, and have all those stuff that our age people that will look back and go, ah, that's off this, and that was that reference, and stuff like that. So it's cool to have that in there,
I think that'll make a lot of people happy that listen to us and check us out, because I'm just a 80s nut. I'll find some of the worst cinema that I can still enjoy.
But I mean, I was saying earlier to in another interview, and it's so true. This, I mean, with Fry Barry, I tried to do. There's not that much visual effects in the movie. I actually think more people might think there's more visual effects in the movie than there actually is.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, it's like in the 80s, it's like 90% in camera, 10% visual effects, and that's what I did with Fry Barry. There's not that much visual effects in the movie at all. It's just tricks to do in camera and stuff, and some of it looks like visual effects, but it's not. It's like in camera.
That's the creative way too. I appreciate.
Yeah, and that's the best way to do it. It looks real. It's meant to be real, and it is real. So I mean, and this is the thing. In the 80s, it was 90%. 10% visual effects, 90% real. And now it's completely the other way around. It's 10% real, 90% visual effects, and that it is. That's the way it is now, And I think that's where we've actually gone wrong with movies,
Yeah, it kind of loses some of that genuineness about it, It's like even with like when you think of monsters in like 80s movies and stuff, it's like at least you can see it. It's right there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, exactly. Well, and this is the thing that I always say. If it doesn't look real, then what is it? Then what are we actually looking at here? And I always use the prime example is the movie The Mummy. So when he stands there and his jaw comes all the way down and all the things fly out of his mouth, like it doesn't look real. And then if it doesn't look real, then it doesn't look scary. And then if it doesn't look scary, then you're just looking at some visual effects. I mean, like for example, my editor, and he's an amazing editor, and he's a lot younger than me, but he'll say something like, yeah, but like the original Star Wars, it's a bit dated, isn't it? And I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? There's nothing wrong with it. It's actually better than the other one. So when he grew up with, the
prequels,
the ones with Ewan McGregor and all that. Yeah. And I'm just like, dude, those visual effects were awful in those movies. You know what I mean? And some of the new ones that continuing on, some of them are like decent. But the originals are still fucking way better. Right. All the costumes, all the prosthetics and animatronics and all that. It's great. Nothing wrong with it. That's the difference. Unless all the 80s kids, unless we're all wrong,
Yeah, maybe we'll go through like a time where everybody's against CGI in like 20 years or something like that, and they go back to the old style just for a little while. It's like cool to be doing it then.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it might. I remember working on Doomsday with Neil Marshall, and I had a very small part in that, and I knew Neil's work, so I know he loves prosthetics and real stuff, doing it on set. And for Doomsday, there was so many amazing prosthetics and stuff, and I don't know if it's just like the studio takes over and puts a lot of CG in it. So when I watched the movie, you couldn't even see the prosthetics. You couldn't even see all these things, and it was just mixed up with visual effects, So yeah, it's just one of those things. I think that's where we've gone wrong, And the day and age again that we live in now, nothing can surprise us now with visual effects. Nothing. We've seen Transformers, we've seen robots. We've seen aliens, we've seen buildings crash, we've seen space, we've seen everything. There's we've lived through all those movies now that gave us like the wow factor, and now we're not going to be like wow, but what else is there?
Yeah, we've expended it all. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what else is there? You got robots, you got the aliens, you've got spaceships, you got space, you've got. I mean, what else? You got buildings like Independence Day or stuff like that, crashing down and stuff. There's nothing else. That's what I'm saying. What is really going to surprise us? And we've seen dinosaurs and everything. So I mean, what else is there that we would sit there and go, "Whoa, that looks fucking awesome"? You know what I mean? So That's the thing.
You got your movie coming out here in some other festivals here coming up?
Yeah, so I think in the States now is the Mile High Horror Film Festival from September the 24th to October the 4th. And that's going to be online. So that's the
Perfect.
cool thing about that is no matter where you are in the States, you can actually watch it anywhere because it's online.
Perfect. So that's the next place you guys can check it out. All right. I got one last question for you. If you could pick one specific genre to do anything you want with it, what would it be?
Shit, dude, I don't know. But what are you asking me? What genre or
Yeah, just what
what would I make?
genre and maybe what subgenre you would pick from that genre, you know what I mean, that you would want to tackle.
I think I'd be still sticking with the mashup of like horror, sci-fi
Okay,
sort of vibe. Yeah,
perfect.
I think it's good to mash up those genres so it's not just one thing. So you're hitting both sort of target markets and people that like that. I mean, some people don't like just slasher movies when it comes to horror. They like that, something else, that weirdness or that obscurity of something else. So I think it's good to have a bit of a mash of genres. But saying that, the next film that I'm making next year
Mm.
is a very dark, twisted time travel movie. That's what I'm
Ah, all
saying.
right. A little
So,
comedy element in there, or
less comedy.
okay,
Fryberry's got a
so
lot of comedy. It's a lot less comedy. That's for sure. It's a bit more.
awesome.
It's a bit more mature movie.
Nice. Kind of test it out, see how that goes with that. That's cool. That sounds good. I like time travel movies, so especially when they can kind of go off the rails a little bit. So, where can they find you online so that they can follow you and see what's up next for you?
Cool, man. Yeah, you can go to ryankruger.tv or frybarry.com. And on Instagram, it's a Ryan Kruger thing. Also on Twitter, a Ryan Kruger thing. Or just type in Ryan Kruger or Fry Barry and you'll find the pages. So if you haven't
Awesome.
seen the film yet at festivals or you're about to, or if you haven't yet, go check out the Fry Barry film trailer on YouTube.
Thank you so much for coming by, man. It was good talking to you. I wish you the best of luck on the film festival circuit, and I can't wait to see it. So let me know.
Cool, man.
All right.
Definitely. Thank you so much, man. Thank you for having me.
You too, man. See you now.
Cheers. Thanks, man. Cheers.